Hello, greetings. This is Gillesmansillon. I thought I'd come back and say hello, to wish you a good day, and to celebrate this full moon in Taurus, which is very physical, anchoring new energies. But still in this 11:11 portal. For me, it wasn't really that brave. I didn't had like spectacular experience like some other time, but the portal is still open, and I know there's wonderful thing coming. I want to say it might be strange for people to see that I'm communicating on spirituality or reading the tarot wearing a suit and tie, but it's part of my culture. For in the art world, when I live in big cities, most of my clients wear suit and ties, and so I've always worn that. It's always been part of my culture, and also it's about breaking the ideas of people that spirituality is like to wear like a big beard and a white robe, and like to break the idea that spirituality it's not about the form, it's about the essence, it's about so it is useful to speak to wear a profane the clothes of very of the world, and but still, so it's not about the form, because for too long humanity has been following these appearances, like only the spirituality is only acceptable when it comes from priests and gurus and so on. So it's about understanding we all have that within ourselves, and it's not about judging the form, but going directly to the spiritual heart. And so I follow the impulse of my higher self. I shaved my head, and it's been asking for weeks. My spirits were asking that, so I did it. And so we also want to love the elements. Everything is made of 4 elements, whether it's our physical body. We have those 4 elements, which made the physical part is made by by the earth elementals. We have these water elementals parts, and this air elemental, and these fire elementals, which is the air elementals are the sylphs, the fire elementals are the salamander, the dwarfs are the physical the physical earth elementals, and the undines are the water elementals. So we all want to activate, elevate, call on the elementals, so they come together in harmony to assist them in bringing the balance within your physical body. The other day I was walking in the rain, it was pouring down rain. I was going to run an errand, and I was like with my umbrella, and I saw all this water that was like pouring down. I was like, wow, how magical! All those ondines that were like dancing everywhere, and like going follow the path for water is very close to the Tao. It follows the lowest path. And so it's about blessing the elementals and bringing the connection, the harmony. For there are many voices that are within our heads, the voices of society, the voices of culture, the voices of our ancestors, the voices of our fear, the voices of our hopes, there's so many voices that go through our heads that are part of the collective happening. We want to turn off, to do what we can to turn off all those voices, to listen exclusively to the voice of the heart, for the heart knows. And so it is important to work on that. 2020 will be a great shift, will be very, very powerful shift. And the 20 is the whole decades that is coming will be very shifting. If you've done the inner work, it will be a lot easier. For a lot of people have not even begun to do this inner work. And so it is. So we'll be here to assist them. For if they haven't done the inner works, they will have to do it. And for me, it's like it's been working on the spiritual ascension path for 30 years. But most people have done it as awakened. They started awakening in 2012. There is this 7 years awakening process. Some before, even if you're awakening now, there is still some work to be done. We all have to do this inner work. It's very essential, important to do this power within. To understand our inner, for the outside world does not really exist. It's it's yet we're all bound by relationships. For the situation is well-being. The whole situation will be about well-being, to always find the good feeling thoughts, to align with that. What goes around this situation is love. For more love, we want more love. We can ask for more love, to feel more, to share more in the love that is. For love is an eternal presence. It's always been there. It's just tuning into that frequency. What we see before us in our conscious mind that will unfold before us is humility. What we have in our subconscious, in our past, is elevation. We've already been elevated. And where we are now, the situation that is now is reward. We do not do things for rewards, but it's cause and effect. What's coming up in the near future is compassion. It's about loving ourselves more and loving the world more, the ability to serve. Our strength within the situation is purification. We are continuing to purify, to be determined in this purification process. What comes to us from the outside world is the solution. Do not focus on the problem, just connect to the solution and stay focused on the solution rather than the problem as much as possible. What we have in our inner emotion, our hopes and fear, is reparation. It's about restoring, it's about realigning, it's about healing, and the outcome is work. There is a lot of work, but with a lot of work, when work is Confucius used to say that when work is aligned with joy, then we never have to work again, because our work brings us joy. So it's about finding the work that you need to do, what brings you the most joy, the most passion, the most excitement, and then work on that day after day. I wanted to say that the soul connection, we want to connect to our soul. Our soul is really, it lives in another dimension. It is an eternal being that's eternally rooted within the Creator, within the eternal life of God. And it is like the root. And every time we incarnate, it's a new branch that comes up. And so our soul is like, just our consciousness is just a part of our soul. And so this soul is very powerful. When we come into relationship or love relationship, romantic relationship, it creates immense excitement. It creates incredible excitement and expansion. And but it's very important to find your own soul, because otherwise, when if you it doesn't mean we cannot enjoy that, but if you don't have the connection to your own soul, the great excitement that you have in relationship, if the will ever diverge of that other person, then you can leave us in anger, in despair, in melancholy, in sorrow, and all kinds. So it's important to connect to your own soul. The soul is a parent energy. It is like God, and we have to let go of all things that is not truly us. That's part of our culture, part of our environment, part of our conditioning. All those things needs to be let go. It's a bit of work, but in order to discover the point of existence of the soul. For love and sexuality, we are meant to work together. For love can exist without sexuality, and sexuality can exist without love. But when they come together, it is very powerful, because it opens up a soul connection. And romantic love, our initiation, they're very, very powerful initiation. And so it's important to understand when you fell in love, it's your own heart that is opening and that is expanding, and because love can bring us into ecstasy, but it can also bring negative emotion when the connection feel lost. For the soul is what's happened. Why is the soul connection so powerful? It's because it gives us access to all, access to memory, access to other soul, access. There is only one soul in truth. Access to all that is, or access to all experiences. So the soul is really the central core, and so we want to stay at the central core the more and more, and to love yourself as much as possible. And so there was a spirit with Mary Magdalene that was communicating in a channel about bringing this little exercise. I thank her with some greeting to the Magdalenes for this spiritual force, as well as an ascended master. And so she reminded us of healing the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It's a small exercise. And so this exercise is about whether we are men or women, whether masculine or feminine. We have to do that. We have the presence of the masculine and feminine within ourselves. It's like we both have a soul and an astral body. If we are male, the soul is masculine, the astral body is feminine. If female, it's reversed. But those two needs to come together. So the idea is to imagine, to visualize in your abdomen that there is this wounded woman. The wounded woman, it comes because the woman has been abused. It's like the weaker sex. It's been dominated. It's been degraded through millennium. And as a woman, we have to carry all of the karmas of all of the divine of the feminine. Just as a male, we have to carry all the karmas of the masculine, and we have to heal that. And so to imagine this wounded woman within your abdomen and vision it, and then bring light to it. Bring light to her. See that she's loved and she's accepted. Bring flowers to her or any kind of gift, And as you do that, you can find she's healed, and she comes into this healing, and so you can then you will be able to pull out the wisdom from the divine feminine, the receptive side of life. And then we want to move on to the heart, and you can see there is a wounded man within the heart, and this wounded man has been wounded because of fear and power and control, and this need to control and manipulate and dominate. For that, those things have nothing to do with all those wounds have nothing to do with the divine qualities of male and female. So we're going to, as we bring light into our heart, we can see that this divine male is healed as well, and then we can see that it's the heart and the navel that will eventually meet, and those two parts of ourselves can actually come together in a healed situation. And so you want to work with that and communicate, visualize this male and female within yourself and heal them, so they can see that they are known, and even the wounds are being recognized. So by recognizing the wound, you can send love to those parts of you, and you can and then you'll find healing, because if we deny the wounds, they will continue to be wounded. Well, I hope this was interesting for you. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting for this very powerful full moon that we're going through. I'm going to sing a song. I'm going to rebound also on an idea that I spoke as an art dealer. I was for many years. I was offered. I was talking in my yesterday video about two Leonardo da Vinci. But I realized there was a third one that was also offered to me. It was a version of Saint Jean Baptiste. It was a picture of a man with his. I think it was his finger like this or like that, or I'm not really sure, I forgot how it was, but it was another version of the Saint Jean Baptiste of the Louvre on a black background. So those things are out there. There is amazing treasures in private collections. Just went through my mind. I'm going to sing this song of David Bowie. This is a self-portrait, a very simple self-portrait on paper with this crown. It's about the sovereign self. And this one is another self-portrait, so it's two self-portraits. It's really evolved. It's got some gold into the eyes. I changed the color of the symbols, the colors of the letters. There may still be some change, some refinement that will come. It's got this, it's holding on to the sun here in Pisces, with my ascendant in Pisces. And so it's some of the planets. I couldn't put them all, but some of the planets. I have my chart, in my birth chart. And so I'm going to sing this song and then pull one more card. So it's not an easy song to sing, but it's about way ahead of time. David Bowie was imagining some star beings that were living, that were waiting to come down, because they knew that humanity was not ready. And 2 years later, there was a hijack of the BBC by the Commander Ashtar. It was at the time of the Cold War, tried to say, well, to humanity, stop with that. We'll assist you with technology. If you're ready, stop your war. We'll come down and assist you. He wasn't really part of the cosmic law. Ashtar kind of broke the law in coming down and hijacking the BBC, but nothing happened, because he just did that from the kindness of his heart, although the offer was not taken. And I saw that this song was a result of that hijacking by Ashtar of the BBC, but the song came 2 years earlier than so maybe it inspired. It gave an opening door for Ashtar to do that. It's called Starman. It goes like this. I didn't know what time it was, the light were low, oh, oh. I leaned back on my radio, oh. Some cat was laying down some rock and roll, lot of soul he said. And then the loud sound seemed to fade, came back like a slow voice on a wave of fade. There were no DJ, there was hazy cosmic jive. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'll blow our mind. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it, 'cause he knows it's always wide. Told me, let the children lose it, let the children use it, let the children boogie. I had to phone someone, so I picked on you. Hey, that's far out, so you heard him too. 2. Switch on your TV, you may pick him up on channel 2. Look out your window, I can see his light. Yes, you can sparkle or he may land tonight. Don't tell your papa or he'll get you locked up in fright. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'll blow our mind. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it, 'cause he knows it's all worthwhile. Told me, let the children lose it, let the children use it, let the children boogie. And so the message of the Starman is that let the children use it. Let the children use their imagination to connect to because the children know that they haven't completely forgotten their cosmic origin, and their imagination is fully activated. Well, I pull one more card to finish. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this week. For the message of the day is from the Archangel, is the Lady of Gabriel, passionate, charming, brilliant, independent. Right now you can undertake anything. Go towards what you aspire. You are attracting the people capable to coming to your help. So it's all about the co-creative process that we're going through. And trust that the more we trust through our faith that everything will be there, that the universe will provide. We have to eliminate the doubts in order to move into this state of magic where things happen magically, and we don't even have to create opposition to the possibility that magic and miracle can happen. Well, thank you very much. Wish you a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Namaste.